Hello and welcome to this masterclass about how to approach extended response style questions. So in this lesson, we're going to look at how we approach a 10-mark question, and then I'm going to give you an example about how you work through that process as well. So hopefully we can take about from here is how we can use this in all sorts of 10-mark questions that you may get during the course of the year, whether it be in SACs or in the end of year examination. Okay, a 10-mark extended response question probably instills more fear than anything else for students. However, if we follow this masterclass, there's going to be at least one approach you can take to hopefully make that easier for you. Now, first of all, the VCE Business Management study design requires a 10-mark question of an extended response nature to be in the final exam. Okay, and therefore some of your teachers may well use them in SACs during the course of the year to help prepare you for that end of year examination. So approaching a 10-mark question, although commonly fills people with dread, but if you can get a structured technique, this should hopefully give you greater confidence in writing these responses. So there are many different template approaches out there, and your teachers, I'm sure, will give you more guidance on them. So mine is just one version of that hopefully may help some of you in how to deal with these dreaded 10-mark extended response style questions. Also, what I hopefully you'll find is that it's fairly flexible, that you can use it and adapt it to different styles of questions that may be presented to you. So you have that confidence, yes, I can adapt that structure however it might come about. So this is just one approach to attempt 10-mark extended response questions. And I learned this one from English teachers who were supporting me in trying to help some students work out how to do essays, extended responses in our subject area. And they refer to it as the burger model of approaching an essay. So I like it. I'm a very visual learner, and I'm hoping you may like it too as something you can approach to. So burgers. Okay, we all love a good burger, okay? And what we want is a real gourmet burger, okay? We don't want one of those flexible little bits of like sort of those cheeseburgers from McDonald's, which is like a tiny piece of meat. We want something chunky and solid, fulfilling and satisfying, okay? So your assessor, when they read your response, is fulfilled and satisfied with your content knowledge and your great examples that you bring to bear. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a quality gourmet burger. That's the visual cue. Now, the top of the bun is your introduction. Okay, so as you go through and you see the question, in this introduction, you're setting the scene for the rest of the burger or the extended response to develop. And so you're going to define some key terms. Now, normally this isn't going to give you a whole raft of marks, but one, you're showing the assessor that you know what you're talking about, and you're giving a lead in, a structure to the rest of the extended response. So this is only going to be brief, but it's going to outline where you're heading with this extended response. You're signaling to the assessor you know what you're talking about, and it's going to help give you confidence as you get to the more meaty parts of the question. So the meat, remember, it's a gourmet burger. It's not a single one. We've got multiple levels of meat coming along here, okay? And these are where we actually address the question that's posed to us. Whatever is asked from us, we get out our magic pen, we underline it, and these are the meat, okay, that we're going to give to the assessor in terms of the examination response. Target the question and do what it's required from us. Now, our cheese here, okay, is our application. Okay, so if we get asked for a company example or to apply our knowledge, this is where we can show that knowledge. Think of it as like a slice of cheese. I love a cheeseburger, okay? And you have really two choices here. You could drizzle the cheese all the way through the burger and make reference to company examples all the way through. Or you could maybe leave it as a slab of cheese, so a nice and tasty part of cheese at the bottom there. Now, there's no one right answer. It's whatever suits your writing style. If you can imagine, there are thousands of different ways of students expressing their knowledge in extended response. They'll all be different because you've all got your personal styles. But by thinking of that company example as a piece of cheese, either drizzled through or as a slab, you can go, okay, if I need to, I can make reference to that. Now, if you can imagine a burger without the bottom part of the burger, it's just a sloppy mess in your hand, okay? So really, you want to finish off by wrapping it all up so it feels like it's all contained in there. So your final piece is where you wrap up the reference to the question, and you maybe revert back to the question to show the assessor that you know what you've been talking about, and yes, I've addressed all the key points, something like that. So it leaves a satisfying feeling in your mouth, okay? So that's our burger model. Remember, we're looking for a gourmet burger. We're looking for lots of meaty detail. We're looking for good explanation. We're looking for cheese either dropped into it or wafting us all the way through, or as a slab in the end there. And we want this nicely packaged so it feels good in our hands. We can eat the burger, but equally for the assessor, this extended response feels nice, and it's going to be well rewarded for its content and its application. So have that in your head. Hopefully it's nice and flexible. I'm going to show you a couple of examples now how you can apply the burger model to structured responses. Okay, so what we have here is a worked example of a past VCAR exam question on a 10-mark response, so extended response. And what I want you to first take away is just the spread of marks that come out of this, okay? If you're looking at this in more detail, you can see quite every single mark is hit with the 14,000 plus students that do this subject. And so you've got the full range, and you have some students getting the 10 out of the 10, some students unfortunately struggling to connect with the response at all and getting a 0. The average, 4.6. It's actually a good year. Sometimes in the past, we've had students where on average it's 3, 4, or 5 as the average mark. So, but you can see here's a chance to differentiate and really show the assessor you know what you're talking about. And if you can get into this high end to give yourself a real leverage in that final exam mark, and then you're striving for the very best marks that you can. Okay? So we'll take a look at this question in more detail and then scaffold our own answer off from it afterwards. So, taking our magic pen out, we always work out what the question is asking us and try and signpost that for ourselves. So the question asks us to evaluate. Again, in our heads, strengths, weakness, and opinion, okay? And we're targeting 2 different motivation strategies, okay? These aren't theories. So importantly, this isn't the theory collection about Maslow, etc. Okay, these are your motivational strategies, your performance-related pay, your support, investment in training, career advancement, and sanctions. Those ones. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Okay, looking for 2 of them. We need to identify and then justify why. One of these strategies would be most effective for the short-term motivation of employees, and which one will be most effective for the long-term motivation of employees. So you can see we've got various components of the question to address. And again, we can see how we can put this potentially into a burger model style structure. So here's our VCAR report. I can let you read that more at leisure, but they always talk about what students did well and badly, and we can learn from that experience as they go along. So again, taking our keywords, we need to evaluate. Okay, we're going to be doing 2 different motivational strategies. So we're going to get 3 marks roughly in our head. We're evaluating one and then another 3 marks for the other. We've then got this identify and justify which one is for the short term and which one is for the long term. So we can see here the short term component and then the long term component. Okay. So in your head, you can have an idea where the marks might resonate from if you're looking for that type of structure. Also be aware that sometimes these are globally marked in terms of a high, medium, and low response, but still having our model to approach will give us some structure that we can capture all the criteria in the question, no matter whether it's globally marked or whether it's marked against the criteria here. So this is where you can now see that burger model come to play in relation to this question. Now, some of my own students in my class draw a little burger model of the side before attempting these questions. Some of them just do it in dot point, but they get a structure before launching into the question itself. It prevents students often like just rambling and not having a consistent flow and making sure you address all the criteria. So let's break this down a little bit more. First of all, the evaluate, okay? So I've said already, we're looking for the strengths, weaknesses, and opinion, okay? We've got that in our head of 2 different motivational strategies, Okay, now you're going to see here, I've already dot pointed in my head if I was approaching this question. Oh, I'm going to do performance-related pay. I'm going to do investment in training. Okay, so I'm going to have my definition about the two strategies, and then I'm going to pick these and do an evaluate on performance-related pay, and then an evaluate on investment in training. This is where my meat's going to come in. Okay, my meaty parts of the burger. Then I've been told to, one, identify and then justify why one of these strategies would be most effective for short-term motivation. I'm going to go with a justification on performance-related pay. Then which one would be effective for the long-term motivation? I'm going to go with investment in training. So by doing it either like that in this section here, or as a burger model like here, you can now see you've got a structure ready to go with before you even start writing. You can be thinking, yes, I'm going to be able to tick all of this off. Now, in this question here, it didn't ask for a company example. If you had one and you felt comfortable, you could drop it in there. But because it's not requested, you don't have to include it in this one here. So instead, we're going to just have a meat burger in this one here, and we're going to have a conclusion to wrap it all up. Okay, so this sample answer is sourced from the VCAR examination report, section A, question 4, but you can see that same structure applied that we've been talking about in terms of this burger model approach to writing extended responses. So motivation refers to the level of energy, creativity and commitment one brings when performing a task. As employees are vital stakeholders in the achievement of business objectives, ensuring they remain motivated at work is crucial for both individual and business success and sustainability. Now, hopefully you can see that's like a nice introduction. This is all about motivation and motivation strategies, and we're instantly showing to the assessor we know what we're talking about. Okay, now we can get into the meat. One motivation strategy is performance-related pay. This involves a financial reward being given to employees whose work has reached or exceeded a set standard. It may be in the form of bonuses or sales commissions. This extrinsic motivation acts to motivate many employees driven by money, or the desire to acquire material goods and possessions. This can act to improve their productivity at work as they work more efficiently, knowing such reinforcement is available for admirable performance. This allows a business to achieve its objectives as employees strive to have their achievements recognized, working hard to generate a high-quality product or provide better customer service, both of which can improve customer satisfaction and sales, and thus increase profits due to increased revenue. Okay, so we have our first bit of meat about performance-related pay, and we have the strengths of this approach, this strategy. Next bit here, we know it's an evaluate question, so we need to do the negatives as well, or the limitations. So however, this strategy can create a competitive culture within the business. This can lead to resentment and disputes, as some employees feel overlooked and their contributions to the business unrecognized. It can also be a significant cost to a business due to the provision of money, increasing their expenses. Thus, this strategy can enhance performance motivation for some, but should not be the only option for employees. It can be unsustainable and thus more effective for short-term motivation. Here we are alluding to that part of the question. This is because employees will strive to reach the bonus or have their wage increased, and once achieved, are likely to revert to their prior performance and overall not remain motivated once acquired. Therefore, this provides short-term motivation for employees. So we have the second part about the PRP. We mentioned some of the limitations, and we mentioned the short-term focus of it. You can even see the structure as well with the paragraphs here, allowing students to get involved. So another motivation strategy is investment in training. So here is our next piece of meat, okay, which acts to increase the skills and knowledge of employees so they're better able to perform their jobs. By investing in training, including on-the-job training, such as role modeling or mentoring, and off-the-job training, whereby a business pays for an external course provider in the form of a lecture or conference, employees will feel valued and satisfied when in the business. Such job satisfaction will increase their willingness to work hard to achieve business objectives, improving their productivity due to their motivation and engagement. It also allows them to develop a wider breadth of skills in order to better produce a better quality good or provide a better quality service for the business. Although this can be, so that's your positives. Okay, so investment in training. We've got our positives there. Although this can be costly and also halt productivity as employees may be away from their place of work, it acts to increase motivation as their abilities and self-efficacy increases simultaneously. This therefore provides a long-term motivation. Okay, so we've got the plus, minus, and the long-term covered here, as employees appreciate the business's commitment to providing ongoing training options and development opportunities, and know they're able to work to their best of their ability and remain valued and required in the business as a result, improving their levels of motivation into the long term. Now, ideally, there may be scope to have a conclusion at the end, but you may also argue that the conclusion has been wrapped up in this last bit here as well. But you can see by having that structure, having the burger model, we can approach the question, tackle the bits of the meat that we need to, address all the criteria, and allow ourselves also the confidence to have the depth and detail required to get an expended response and the best marks we can possibly do. So hopefully that helps, gives you a bit of an idea how to approach those dreaded 10-mark questions with a bit more confidence in the future. So practice this. Practice makes perfect, so all the very best, and hopefully you'll be able to get the very best score you possibly can when you next attempt that 10-mark question.